Good evening, everybody. This is Paul Wong. Welcome to the relationship series. Tonight's call is about how to express healthy boundaries, and this is part of the relationship series. Last week, we did a call on resolving traumas related to relationships, and today, we're going to focus on expressing healthy boundaries. This is a very important aspect for us in terms of dealing with relationships. So when I talk about relationships, this is relationships for significant others, for your work, for friendships, for family, for anyone that you have an important relationship with. And if you are not able to express yourself in a healthy manner, then you are going to have problems with your relationship. Some people either don't express, they don't process things, and then things build up, and that could eventually lead to a breakdown in the future. Some people overexpress. And when they overexpress, that means in an unhealthy manner, then they can also lead to relationship problems or damaging relationships, regrets, resentments, and so on. So we want to help you go from unhealthy expressions to healthy expressions, unhealthy boundaries to healthy boundaries. I usually say this in the beginning, I should have said this, is when we're with this call, please turn off everything. Do your best to be in silence, be in a quiet place so that you won't get any distractions, because we're going to help you process subconscious patterns that's been stuck for who knows how long. For some people, it might be decades. So those type of experiences and old emotions may be released in this session. And then you can also listen to the call again and take notes and also apply it in your daily life. So there's also, for anybody that's on the webcast, some people might be calling in directly, but if you're on the webcast, you could raise your hands at a later point to do a direct call, a live call, and others can actually submit their questions online, and I'll do my best to go through as many questions as I can in the context of helping you with your relationships, especially in the context of expressing healthy boundaries. So as we are talking about this, okay, if you are looking at the slides, you can see that I made a diagram here to give you a sense of where you can access yourself when you're expressing to other people. If you don't see this because you're on a phone line, then get the replay later, and then you can watch the presentation again. You can see the slides. And there will also be a workbook related to how to help yourself with expressing your boundaries in a healthy way. So if you're looking at the slide, you can see that there's, if you're expressing yourself in an unhealthy way, you might be angry, you might be judgmental, you might be using ways to get what you want. Certain patterns, manipulation, you blame people, you shame, or you might react in a fearful way. So a lot of times if you are in a place where you are feeling like you need to be constantly in control, some people express their boundaries by being sarcastic or ways that you are constantly trying to hold on instead of letting go. So controlling and this power aspect, you're using power to get what you want. So if you're expressing yourself in this way, it may not be very healthy for your relationship. So you want to shift that to the right-hand side, as I talked about, which is having a more healthier expressions of your boundaries. So that's where you could be more truthful, be more accepting, have more sincerity in your communications, be more respectful, okay, taking responsibility, have more courage. You are in a place of surrendering rather than surrendering control rather than being controlling. You can express some vulnerability more. You're a lot less reactional, okay, instead of being reactive. So that's why I call expressing yourself in a healthy way. So like I said, many people say, I do express my boundaries, but if you're doing all these things that can hurt a relationship, then you're not doing it in a healthy way. So if you've been on my calls, this is similar, but for people that are listening to it for the first time, so what is the heart wisdom process? It's a system I developed over the last decade, and there's a very deep self-reflection component and a healing system that's synthesized around it. There's a lot of teachings based on yoga, traditional Chinese medicine. It's how they observe nature. And based on studying nature, studying human behaviors, and also it's based on my own experiences of overcoming chronic difficulties and also my own relationship to others, where I suffered, where I learned those lessons, and how I could pass some of this experience off to anyone that's learning. So that's what comprises of the heart wisdom process. Okay, so in order for you to express healthy boundaries, it's not just mentally saying that I want to express healthy boundaries in one moment and then the next day you start to express healthy boundaries. It's not a mental exercise. You actually have to work through oftentimes layers of subconscious programming for you to express in the way that I talk about. So to get to the healthy side, you're actually releasing programming that's can be from early life. And there are multiple layers. And when you are actually releasing, and in this call, you'll experience releases even on the physical level. And you're actually doing this work and learning this process and then doing this work on a daily basis. Okay, so you are releasing your programming that you might be accumulated from early life, sometimes as early as pregnancy. Your parents programming, your ancestors. Now, if some people say, hey, I have never experienced that. how could that be me? Okay, well, it's not always you. It's your parents. It's your ancestors. They might have trauma. They might have abuse. They might have gone to a period of time to experience extreme poverty or abuse or violence. They might have grown up in a time where there's war. So all this trauma that they never get processed can get passed on to you. And sometimes generations of beliefs and thinking gets passed on. When generations of beliefs get passed on, it's held in your DNA, and that has to get processed through the heart. Some of the other issues you might even experience if your parents or those around you are in an environment that's very negative, there's addiction, alcoholism, very toxic type of environments growing up, abuse, then that is still stored in you as a wound. So just like an onion, for anyone that's worked with me, you'll be experiencing, or even this call, or all the calls that you have experienced, we start with the surface and it goes to deeper programming, the deepest programming. When you start to go to deeper programming, you start to become aware of, oftentimes these are the most common beliefs that come up, is I'm not lovable, I can't survive, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough. Okay. And if you're like, well, I don't have these beliefs, your parents might have these beliefs, your ancestors are likely to have these beliefs. So the human condition creates these beliefs. So you want to process and let go of these so they're no longer in your system anymore. And with this work, we want you to have the experience of releasing the original experiences that created these beliefs. So as we unwind, so if you want to think about your ego, it's made of layers and layers of programming. As we unwind the ego, our ego, you could get to the deepest programming, what I call the primordial programming. It's the deeper wounds of survival, terror, not love, okay? All these experiences that program you to behave the way you are. So we want to get down to the deepest wounds. So in these calls, we try to get you started as much as possible. Of course, if you can do the work, you should continue to do the work, whether through us or through some other practitioner that's out in the world that may be able to help you. But I would recommend that people sooner or later do this work for themselves. Otherwise, you might end up just processing these experiences in your mind for a long time. So this work gets you from processing with the mind. Most of the population, probably 98% of the population, live their life in their mind. We want you to get back into your body, into your heart, and process, and then let it go. So experience the suffering that could cause you decades of suffering, you could be seeing a traditional psychotherapist for a decade, couple of decades, can be drastically shortened in a very short time. Perhaps a few months, a year, but definitely not over several decades. That's the kind of the aim for this work. So if people do this work, they can save themselves a lot of time. Okay, so just so that you know, in this work, you will experience physical releases, physical changes, physical discomfort. Some of the experience might be you might feel tired, drowsy, tears may come out, old emotions may come out. You have forgotten emotions, anger, grief, sadness. All of this can come out if you do this work. I oftentimes tell my clients who've been doing work with me, I said, if you feel somewhat tired from yoga, it's the term called being Thomas quality. So rather than just going straight to sleep, unless you're exhausted, of course, go to sleep. But if you start to feel these things, sometimes it's better to take a walk. But the last thing I want somebody to do is to stuff more food, do emotional eating, play video games. If you're doing those type of things to distract yourself, you're not processing what's subconscious. So it's better to take a nature walk, or better to be in silence rather than being really chatty with somebody. Try to move into a more stillness or inner silence, no matter how uncomfortable it is, and just allow the next layer of old stuff, old emotions, old beliefs, experience to come through and pass through and get them out of your system. Okay, so the basic heart wisdom technique is, for anyone that's listening, I hope you have something to write with. If you do, that's great. Whatever the first thought or feeling is, I want you to write it down, okay? So if you're doing this exercise on your own, if you have a problem with expressing yourself, write down all your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs about expressing yourself. Or if you're not expressing yourself, write that down. Or why you're not expressing yourself. Or you can say, well, my parents never could express myself. Whatever is that your story is, make a list of it. Okay? So the second step is just to set an intention and dissolve it. Dissolve those thoughts and feelings, and negativity, whatever it is, those feelings or sensations. So when you do that, you put your hand on your heart, okay, and you just feel the movement of your breath. And just in silence, just say, I. So here we're modifying what we talked about in the book, my book, The Heart Wisdom Process, because they came out last year. The book had a lot of really good information and steps that could help people find their old patterns. So we're modifying, has a lot of useful information, but we're modifying because based on feedback from clients over the last year, we're modifying to simplify it and to make it easier to apply. In the book, I talk about the 9 types of suffering, which is, and the slide, if you're looking at the slide, it says grief, sadness, anger, worry, fear, not trusting, not safe, not loved, not being able to let go. Okay, these are different components. So if I'm working with you as a group, I'm demonstrating that we're working through these areas. So if you're working through your thoughts and your feelings, oftentimes they're made of these components. So if you clear something, if you go deeper, if you look deeper a little bit, there might be another layer of sadness, another layer of fear, another layer of not loved. Okay, so you can use this framework to kind of go deeper and deeper and deeper as you're processing your conditioning. So second step is just to say I, as you put your hand on the heart. In my book, I said to say, who am I? You could just allow even who am I to be dissolved into the I. Like, who am I if I let go of the story? Then say I. Okay, and as you do that, then another thought or feeling will come up. I say, now I feel sad. Now I have a memory of when I was a kid, I wasn't loved, or my parents yelled at me, or some people might have experienced some type of hurt feelings or abuse, if those thoughts and memories or feelings come up, continue to put your hand on your heart and just say I. And keep following your breath, and let everything dissolve into the heart. That's how you do it. So you could just pick something right now for yourself and look at it from a standpoint of not being able to express yourself or having difficulty expressing yourself. And just what's your first thought? Like, I can't speak up. I can't say no. I'm afraid. I always get angry. I hurt others. Okay? So what's your first thought? And then just say I, and then dissolve that thought or feeling. If you're feeling immediate physical discomfort right now, find out what that notice what that physical sensation is like. I feel heaviness. I feel contraction. I can't breathe. Whatever the feeling is, put your hand on your heart and just feel the rhythm of your heart, feel the breath, and just in silence say I, and start dissolving that. Okay? And then notice what's the next thing that comes up, the next feeling. And then say I. So this process is very powerful whenever you are stressed. Put this, even if you forget anything else I said, put your hand on your heart and just be with your breath and say I. Okay? If you could just get that part, that will take you a long way, and just stay with that. Okay. So I'm going to, for anyone that is wants to ask a question, just raise your hand. I'll take a question, or just write in your questions online. Okay, I have a volunteer. Is this Zakaria?
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to the call.
Hi. This is my first time on the call, so I'm not sure. Do I just start telling like what I need help with, or?
Yeah, we want to help you and everybody else. So if you say, hey, regarding expressing myself, expressing my boundaries, I'm struggling with something, then I'll walk you through the process, work with you, and then everybody else will get the benefits of it. So tell me what we could help you with in regards to expressing yourself. Go ahead.
Oh, in regards to expressing myself?
Yes.
Yeah, I do have a fear of expressing myself, but I think for me right now, since this is about boundaries, it's about like not feeling like myself and living in a family and having a hard time of establishing an energetic boundary.
Oh, great request. I think everybody can benefit from that. Okay, so I often ask everybody, I'm going to ask you too, right now, just rate yourself from a 0 to 10. 0 is no stress, peaceful. 10 is the most stress. What are you at now when you think about this experience or this issue?
It's a 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to start working with you, and also check your body. What's your body doing when you are connected to the experience? Is it heavy? Is it contracted? What's the actual feeling, sensation?
It feels really tight and heavy.
Okay. All right. So let's do this, and So I'm going to just intuit this, and then for those who want to be practitioners, you can learn this process and do it for your clients. Do it for your clients. You can apply the practices that we talk about today and just do it for yourself. So the first layer, there's grief. Okay. So for everybody else in your, you put your hand on your heart and just stay with the heart and just in silence say I, to dissolve grief. Then the next layer is about not feeling safe. So set the intention to dissolve not feeling safe and just say I, dissolve those experiences of not feeling safe. And then the next layer is about letting go. Okay. So if there's any fears or experiences about letting go or not wanting to let go, then just say I, and then start processing and releasing that. So Sarkaria, what do you notice or feel now?
I did notice like a slight shift, like when it came to letting go, the fear of letting go.
Okay.
It wasn't like a ground shift, but it was like a slight shift. Good.
That's fine. So we're going from one layer to another layer and to another layer. Then it's not safe to let go. So keep set the intention. Just say in silence. Dissolve everything into the heart. Not safe to let go. The experiences. There's more fear and worry, so we're going to dissolve fear and worry. So as we're doing this for you, we're also doing this for everybody else in the call. Now there's grief being released. So now it's like, I don't want to let go. I'm still afraid to let go. I'm afraid to trust. Also, it's not safe to express. I feel angry about expressing, so we're dissolving all this. And now grief is being released. So the next layer is not safe to love. There's a fear of expressing your love. Not safe to express love. And then there's more grief and sadness now being released. And now there's fear letting it go. There's still anger about letting it go. There's what I call letting go of like an old way of being an identity. So as we start to process surface issues, we start to let go of beliefs and identities. That if we let go, it's like, I don't know who I am. Okay? So hold your hand, continue to hold your hand on the heart and just say, who am I if I can trust? It's by the intention. Trust more. Okay? Yeah. So we let go of our old way of being. We're like, I don't know who I am anymore. Okay? So we want to say I with the intention to let go and trust more. So now some more grief is being released. Okay. Tell me how you feel now from a 0 to 10.
Like from 0 to 10, I would say like about, it's gone down to like a 7 or 8.
Yeah. Okay, good. So now there's childhood fears. So as we move through like surface issues, we start to get to younger, earlier life. Childhood about not able to let go. Like the child is afraid to not let go. Okay? So we're dissolving this for everybody about the child not being able to let go, the child not feeling safe, the child not being able to express, the child's fearful about expressing. So as you say I, in silence, the key is saying this in silence and stay with the heart, stay with the breath, start to dissolve all that. And now more grief is being released. Okay, so now notice where you feel.
It's like more of a shift, so I would say like it went down to like a 6. For me, I mean, I was in a situation where it was like very disassociated kind of situation, like totally feeling like other people and like all of me left. So that's what these little numbers mean a lot to me too.
Yes, you've made a key point about being disassociated. Our modern day society makes people want to disassociate. Okay?
Yeah.
When I hear when they say when they disassociate, it often times they're going away from their body into their mind, and then they can disassociate. So the nature of this work is to get us back into our heart, back into to be connected to the body. When we're connected to our body and our heart, it's uncomfortable because you're feeling everything. When people do this work long term, it rewires them to be in their body. So people get out of their body by doing a lot of things like video games, food, alcohol, anything that distracts them from feeling pain, to process their pain. Everybody only wants to feel pleasurable things, but they don't want to feel anything that's uncomfortable. So we actually have to get people away from the belief of running away from pain. So we're going to do that for everybody, which is if you have any beliefs about running away from pain, just say I into the heart, dissolving your discomfort and fears about running away from pain. There's grief being released. It's like I don't feel safe with processing my pain, my unconscious pain, my unconscious grief. I'm not trusting. There's fear of letting go of these programmings and conditioning. Just keep saying I to, and follow your breath to dissolve it.
It's like something else came up, like fear of taking your power back.
Yes. So you have fear of taking power back. Again, the process is simple. Just hold your hand to your heart and dissolve. I have this fear. Acknowledge it and then dissolve it. I have this fear, and who am I? I. Whatever is your next thought, say that to dissolve that. And then let the next one come, like the next one comes. And I talk about the 9 types of suffering for everyone that's listening to the call. It's really a framework, but if you don't follow that exactly, it's okay. Just allow your subconscious to bring up the next thought, That's how you apply it for yourself. But if you are a practitioner, then you will have to be trained to use, most people learn muscle testing to test what's the next layer, what's the next layer, and I can train you on that. But if you're doing it yourself, just allow the next layer to bubble up and process that. So tell me what you feel now from a 0 to 10.
It's gone down. It's like about a 5. Like my other question was that, I feel a little numb to feeling my feelings. Like there's thoughts, but I have a hard time connecting to my feelings, which is a new experience.
Yes, this is a great point for people expressing their boundaries, okay? Because if we're numb, for any issue, lots of people, because of the way they're programmed, they don't want to connect to the unprocessed pain. So they want to numb themselves by doing lots of things to not feel, okay? So we're going to start, so if you're feeling numb or resisting the feeling, then just in silence say, I'm afraid to feel, and who am I? Just follow your breath and say, I, dissolve your fear about feeling that. Not safe to feel. There's a fear of letting go of this way of being. And I. Then in silence, say to your heart and say, who am I if I can trust more? Okay, and just feel that and say, I. Okay, so now did you notice another shift?
Yeah, like a little harder to breathe.
Yes. Okay, so if you're feeling physical discomforts, like Shikaria just said, I'm having a hard time breathing. Somebody else on the call also made a comment, I'm feeling a hard time breathing. Then just do it for that sensation, that anxiety. If your heart's pounding, just say, my heart's pounding. So, you acknowledge it and then acknowledge what's true and then start saying I, with the intention to dissolve that, even that physical sensation. So do that for yourself. Notice what happens.
It got better.
Good. So this is, if I'm repeating myself, that's because I'm re-emphasizing the point that instead of running away and doing anything to distract yourself, hold your hand to the heart and dissolve the physical discomfort and allow that to pass. So the key is to stay with it, stay with your heart, allow it to pass. And that's how you can transcend old feelings that's been in your system for a long time. So if you can apply this, no matter how uncomfortable the feeling is, then you could get that system out of yourself.
So I do have another question. I'm sorry. This might relate to a lot of people too. Like being an empath or sensitive, intuitive, like when you pick up a lot of stuff from your environment, if, for example, if someone is feeling something and, you notice that you start to feel it too, could you just dissolve it in yourself and it'll just solve? Okay. Or is there something like you have to? Okay.
Yes. I got the gist of your question, and because I'm also a person that's very sensitive. Anybody that's drawn to this work is oftentimes very sensitive, whether you're aware of this or not. Okay, so if this is the case, I want everybody to think about yourself as not just limited to this person and this body, and there's a much bigger picture. You are actually connecting to a much greater divine intelligence. It's not just this limited to this physical heart, I'm saying dissolving it, but you're dissolving in this greater spiritual heart, this universal intelligence. You follow me?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're dissolving the negativities and sensitivities that you're picking up, and through the same process. And another thing I want people to do is to let go of their stories, who they think they are. Even though I'm very sensitive, as we do this work, we let go of more and more of our identities in life. Like you just said, I'm an empath. Well, I am too, but I don't really I don't try to limit myself to I'm an empath. Does that make sense? So
yeah.
So if you limit yourself, then you're like, I'm just going to play this role of the empath for a year or 2 or 10 years or 20 years and be like this person in this box. Okay? So what I want you to do is whatever story you have for yourself, I'm sensitive or I'm an empath or I'm this or that. All right? Now say this identity to yourself, hold it to your heart, and just say, who am I? I. All right? I'm a person that can't express boundaries. All right? Or I get very angry when I express my boundaries. This is how you identify yourself. All right? Or I am a person that got abused by a narcissist. This is your identification. Then do it, hold it to your heart, and just whatever your identity is, just dissolve. Put the intent to start dissolving and say, I.
Wow, this was helpful. Thank you.
Yes, because this your own identity of being an empath is causing you suffering. Okay?
It's interesting that you also mentioned that when you have alcoholism in your childhood, which I grew up in.
Yes.
it tends to make you more like, yeah.
So this is a very, that's a great point you brought up. So anyone that have done, have a toxic environment and that you do work, extensive work, either with us or find somebody that has this level of skill to help you do the work to process it. Because from working with others, with clients that come from an addictions background, it's quite extensive. What you can, the amount of clearing you have to do. Again, if one wants that in their path, not everybody has to process, or it's not their path. Sometimes they don't need, they're not interested. They just like drinking alcohol and go on with life, and we can respect that. But if a person has a deeper yearning for this work and processing this, then this is the right work for you. So when you say alcoholism, again, do it for the same thing, okay? Do it for alcoholism. I'm identified with that. I have alcoholism. I have an identity with alcoholism, and just say I. You start dissolving that. As you're dissolving, then the next layer comes up, and the next layer. You might not like what you find in the next layer, but it will come up if you do this work. Okay. So
you're meaning, just to clarify this, like if I grew up in an alcoholic environment, like my dad was an alcoholic, I can release on my identity to that.
Exactly. That's a great question.
Okay.
You can release your ancestors' identities. Okay. So how did I come with this process? Based on meditation, based on self-inquiry. In yoga, meditation is a form of yoga. It's called dhyana. Okay. Self-inquiry is also a form of yoga. It's jnana. It's the yoga of knowledge. And so how do I get to all this? Because when we meditate a lot, layers and layers of old stuff can come up. Okay. And I simply turn my experiences into a fine-tuned way so people can apply it. So that's a very good question. Now if you look at it from a 0 to 10, how does it feel from when you started?
It feels like, even from the way I'm talking right now, I think people can probably hear it feels a lot better. I'd say probably like at a 4.
Yeah. So if you look at the 4, it's just made of a bunch of old feelings and stories and discomforts, experiences. So you're basically pulling one experience and one feeling, one after another. I'm basically explaining to everybody how to do it. If you want to do it on your own, great. Continue to do it. I hope some people will continue to do this for the rest of their lives, because I do this daily, and I'm constantly finding new layers and triggers that I was not aware of. And then, it's been my journey for enlightenment. So I hope that people listening on the call can take this to heart, that this can also help them in their journey for their own personal enlightenment. So what's the next thought or feeling that comes up with the 4?
Well, for me, it was like, I feel like I've been experiencing a soul loss. So not feeling like completely like myself, like, how we've been talking about that. But I wanted to know how this process would kind of help with like a soul loss, which I feel like people tend to feel sometimes growing up in toxic family. Yes,
that's great. So if you're feeling a soul loss, okay, this is what, see, if everybody's listening, this is getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and that's how this work goes. It goes deeper and deeper. And soul loss, okay, again, put your hand on the heart and just acknowledge what's true. I'm experiencing a soul loss. Who am I? I. And then there's grief being released. There's a fear letting go. It's like, I don't know who I am, okay? I. See, we've been programmed. Go ahead.
Excited. I'm sorry, I just got happy and I haven't felt happy in so long. So thank you.
Yes. So we've been programmed to think that we're someone or something. And there's a lot of misguided teachings out there. They're well-intentioned, but there are a number of misguided teachings. And that is that we have to identify with something. We have to hold on to these identities. So just understand that teachings may be suitable for certain points of development, but once you got the learning, you have to let go. So I learned this from the Saint Amma. And she said that you have a boat that goes across the river, but it's like a technique. You learn a technique. It could be affirmations. It could be something. Once you get across the river, you want to let go of the boat. You don't need the boat anymore. But what we do, the ego, the mind, they want to hold on to something, hold on to a technique, hold on to this, hold on to this belief, hold on to that affirmation. And we start to become attached and identify with it. So what happens when we become attached, thrown out. And then when garbage is getting thrown out, you start to rot. And then you kind of have, what's the rotting translate to our daily lives, your physical health, your relationship breakdowns, your communication breakdowns, all kind of things. So we actually have to let go. That's what meditation does. It's like it helps people purify and let go. Okay, how do you feel now?
I feel a lot better. I want to say like at a 2 or a 1. So I also want to give other people chances to get online if they do.
Okay. Well, I'm answering other people's questions as we're working. So
okay.
So I think this is.
It's for me, I guess right now what comes up is like a little resistance, like wanting to run away from the next level. Like I tend to sit in this like area, like, okay, I feel fine right now, you know. And usually there's like deeper stuff, and that's something probably others may be able to relate with.
Yes, I'm glad you bringing this up, and I'm glad that you're an empath or was an empath. So, because you're able to think about and be aware of other people on the call, and not everybody's like that. So that's cool. So if you're no problem. So if you are saying I'm just comfortable where I am, okay. Now dissolve that too. Put your hand on your heart. Like I don't want to go deeper or challenge myself. I'm afraid to go deeper or challenge myself. A lot of people they experience something good and they don't want to go any further, and that's fine too. Okay. But for anybody that really want to go deep with this work, you can. You could go just to the surface layer, get some relief. That's fine. You could use it to solve complex, complicated problems. Great. You could use this process for a deeper enlightenment. Then do that. Whatever is suitable for many different levels. So notice what you feel now when you think about the comfort and there's a fear of letting go of that comfort. Okay. So for anybody else in the call, do to let go of the fear of letting go of your comfort zone. Identification with comfort. Identification with it's safe to be comfortable. And there's grief now being released. See, there's also the fear of the unknown. Okay? Not safe to deal with the unknown. So dissolve that too. Okay. Now notice how you feel.
I'm getting a strange pulling sensation on the back of my head, like it's on my back.
Okay. So dissolve that too. Okay. Same process.
Okay.
Dissolve it. So everybody listening, I want you to be doing the same thing. Dissolve whatever you're feeling that are coming up. If you're joining the call late, you can listen to the call again and apply this. Okay. So now notice how you feel. Did that feeling
It feels
change too?
different. Yeah, that feeling went away too.
Good. So, as a human being, we are just attached to a lot of feelings, our identities, our beliefs. We're letting all that go.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we let that go, we start to heal in a big way and grow and expand. Really cool with the journey. So, I think...
I'm sorry, I just have another last thing. What if you're like, I think I already asked this. Never mind. Sorry, my memory issues are kind of off.
Okay, so you can do this for yourself. Do this for your memory issues. I've done it for my clients.
Yeah.
If you have memory issues, do this for your memory issues. If you have physical health issues, do it for this. If for expression, do it for your expression. Okay. Do as much as you can, and then we are here to support you. We have practitioners that could help you if I'm not available. If you're looking for just deeper work or help, contact us. So I appreciate you getting on the call.
Yeah, I'm glad that this was a topic too, so I'm really grateful for the help that I got today. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, great. Thanks for being on the call. I'm just going to wrap up a few things now. Okay. So, well, for anyone, I am doing a one-day Heart Wisdom workshop or foundations training. So you can learn how to apply this for both yourself and for your clients. Know that you probably received the email that said that I will do the next teleseries on the next following Tuesday, but with a scheduling conflict, I decided it would be better to do September 4th. So the next one will be about dealing with difficult people and relationships. So everybody can listen to the call again. There's a lot of very valuable content. This is exactly how I work with clients in person and live coaching sessions. So if you are a practitioner, you can listen to the call and just extract the knowledge and anything that could help you with your clients or for yourself. If you find it to be helpful, then do share the link on your social media or anybody that could listen to the past calls, because if you want to master relationships, you're going to have to resolve those old traumas that we talked about in the last teleseries, and they may be from your parents and your ancestors that gets passed on to you. Dissolve those beliefs that got created from those traumas. And the next one is to deal with those difficult people in our lives. Difficult people are the results of oftentimes unresolved issues. These difficult people are pulling all the old stuff out for you to process, so that you can learn to have greater sense of love and kindness for yourself and for other people. I'll be talking about that on September 4th. And if you're looking for greater assistance, further assistance with relationship areas, with traumas, or expressing yourself, or dealing with difficult people, we could certainly schedule a coaching session for anybody that wants to go deeper with this work. I'm going to double check to see if I covered everything and all the key questions, and then we can let you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Yeah, there's another question about vulnerability. So if you are experiencing vulnerability, do the work on vulnerability. Put your hand on your heart and the fear of being hurt. Just hold your hand to the heart and just say, who am I? I. And past experience comes up, just again, say that. And then follow the next thought, follow the next feeling. Okay. Well, it looks like I got everybody covered, and I joined us tonight, and I hope to hear from you and have you join other calls and join my live programs, and really, my mind is that everybody takes this process and use it in their daily life for the rest of their life, and continue to do their own work for their own personal enlightenment. And as I talked about yoga earlier, is that see yoga beyond just the physical stretching and the exercise. See it as a means to become more enlightened in life, so you could just have greater love and kindness, and there's this greater, invisible light and love that's behind everything. So that's what I hope that everybody gains. And with that, you carry yourself with your expression. So thank you for joining me.
The moderator has left the conference.